Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing no contact stages you will go through. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing no contact stages you will go through. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you will likely implement the no contact rule. But if you decide to do this, what will you experience? In today's podcast, I discuss the no contact rule stages you will likely go through. So let's get straight into this, and point number one is withdrawal and desperation. So if you're a dumpee, if you've been dumped and want to try to get your ex back and you're listening to today's podcast, hearing point number one is likely to feel quite concerning. You're likely to be thinking, oh gosh, withdrawal and desperation, that sounds terrible. That sounds really worrying. But what I'm going to say to you is please listen through the whole of today's podcast so you can understand the whole range of likely experiences. Because although point number one sounds terrifying, it is one part of a journey and not the destination. You have to go through each element before you get to your final outcome. So please listen and let me know in the YouTube comments what you think, what you feel about what I'm saying, and whether or not you have already or are experiencing the things I'm about to discuss. So point number one, like I said, withdrawal and desperation. So if you implement my version of a no contact rule, and I say my version because if you check online, if you hear about the no contact rule and start looking into it, you will find that different people have different variants, different concepts, different ideas in what they refer to as the no contact rule. Everybody has their own slight take on it, and my version of a rule is something I believe passionately in, will give you that best possible chance of success. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, ring the bell for notifications, and check out my playlist entitled The No Contact Rule so you can fully immerse yourself in my version of a rule and understand why I believe it will give you that best chance of success. But if and when you implement my version of a rule, you will initially start to feel very fearful. You will start to feel withdrawal symptoms. And this is because you are experiencing something very similar to a combination of grief and drug withdrawal. It can be terrifying. You can feel desperation. And the withdrawal and desperation will try to get into your mindset and almost force you to reach out to your ex for a reason that I don't suggest. Now, of course, there is no guaranteed way of getting your ex back. Nothing works 100% of the time and nothing fails 100% of the time. But from my experience and research, I believe that this will give you that best chance of success. So if you follow the rule, if you listen to the podcast I discuss my specific elements towards that rule, and if you think to yourself, no, I probably shouldn't be reaching out to my ex, but I can't help myself, I'm going to reach out to them. No, I'm going to stop myself. And you have this internal battle. Whether you reach out or don't reach out, you're going to be really feeling the pull of the withdrawal and the desperation to make contact with your ex. You'll be feeling fearful that if you don't contact them, they will forget you. But let me tell you this. If you have been in a romantic relationship with somebody, they will never, ever forget you. It doesn't matter whether you've been split up 2 days, 2 years, 20 years. It doesn't matter how long it has been, they will never forget you. So please, don't be scared, don't be fearful, and think that if you don't reach out to your ex, if you don't chase them, then they will forget you, because they won't. You need to be growing your value in their mind, and the best way you can do this is to become scarce. Scarcity creates value. You need to be showing yourself as somebody who has an abundance mindset, somebody who is not needy, somebody who is not desperate. And you do this by focusing on you and your own journey and not chasing someone who has decided to end your relationship. Now, this doesn't mean that at the time of a breakup, you can't say your piece, you can't say your part, you can't say, I don't want this to end, and this is why. But once the dust has settled, you need to focus on you and you need to stop chasing your ex. However, if you do this, if you implement my version of a no contact rule, you will initially be feeling withdrawal symptoms in communicating with your ex and desperation from a fear that they may forget you. So this is what I would suggest is the first stage of what you are likely to go through if you implement my version of no contact. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast about no contact stages you will go through. And point number 2 is split thoughts. So if you implement my version of the rule for a sustained amount of time, and there isn't a definitive amount of time where this will switch into point number 2, everybody's different, everybody's journey is different, but I would suggest that for most people this is going to be within the months rather than the weeks or the days. But again, everybody is different. But if you implement my version of a rule for this length of time, your mindset is likely to slowly but surely evolve from point number 1 of withdrawal and desperation to point number 2, which is split thoughts. And this is the point where you start to think to yourself, you know what, I'm actually okay without my ex. However, I would like to get back with them. I'd love to get back with them, but I don't feel like I need to chase them anymore. And this is what I would refer to in point number 2 as split thoughts. On one hand, you're starting to feel okay, kinda, most of the time. Although on the other hand, you still would love to get back together with your ex if they reached out to you, and you want to leave that door open. So any dating that you might consider doing, you will not feel that you can get into a deep, serious connection with. You wouldn't feel that you can become a one-on-one compatible partner with somebody new because possibly secretly to this new person, you're actually thinking of your ex a lot. The only difference to point number 1 is you're able to control your thoughts and feelings more easily. You are able to spend time with friends. You are able to go on dates. But you want to leave that door open, so you might date somebody, but in the back of your mind you're thinking, well, if my ex reaches out to me tomorrow, I want to be able to jump ship straight into a relationship with them again, and therefore I can't get serious with this new person. This is what I refer to as split thoughts, and it's very, very common. Now, if you would like help and support going through breakup recovery, if you want help and support trying to increase the chance of getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your specific circumstances. Go to my website, www.dateme.tips, for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate through your journey of breakup recovery and or trying to increase the chance of getting your ex back. www.dateme.tips and check out the details of my audio coaching service. So like I was saying in point number 2, we're talking about split thoughts. And a great example of this might be you decide to go online dating. Maybe you've been persuaded by friends or family. Maybe you just think the time's right. You go online dating, you're enjoying the conversation. You might even meet somebody, but you are just very, very nervous about taking it to the next stage. Maybe you'll meet them 2 or 3 times. Maybe you're trying to make them a casual partner, whether or not they're actually wanting the same. And that is a moral decision for you to be thinking about whether or not you should be behaving in this way if somebody wants serious and deep down you know that you don't. I would always say that you need to let somebody know online dating. You need to let them know that you've gone through a breakup and you're not really sure what you're looking for right now. And therefore, if you tell somebody this, the decision is theirs. You're putting the ball in their court and they can make that choice whether they want to continue seeing you. Because like I said in point number 2, your split thoughts means that although you might be going on a date with somebody new, you're thinking of your ex. You're hoping they reach out to you. And although you can stop yourself reaching out to them now, you keep thinking, come on, surely soon my ex is going to reach out to me. And if and when they do, you instantly in your mind think you want to get back together with them, even though you don't know how that initial reconnection may be. In your mind, you're thinking, no, that's what will happen. It will be fine. That is split thoughts. And that was point number 2. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast about no contact stages you will go through. And point number 3 is acceptance and happiness. So point number 3 is when you continue to implement my version of a no contact rule, and as the months tick by, sometimes this will be many months, sometimes this might be even further into the years, you will get to the stage where you feel acceptance. And acceptance is an important part of breakup recovery. It means you're happy either way. You're happy with your life right now, but if your ex contacted you, then you may consider reconnecting. The difference between point number 3 and point number 2 is that split thoughts in point number 2 means you're banking on the fact that your ex will reach out to you and you do not want to get serious with anybody new. In point number 3, when you're accepting the situation that you find yourself in, if and when you find a new connection which feels good, you feel comfortable exploring that connection. You feel comfortable moving forward. And if your ex was to reach out to you, at this point, you probably wouldn't even respond. And if you did respond, you probably wouldn't try to connect with them once again. You might be polite, you might have a conversation, but you no longer want to be with your former partner. So point number 3 is about acceptance and happiness. Acceptance and happiness within your current state. Maybe you're single, living your best life, and you are happy. You're not rushing, and if your ex reaches out to you, you'll give them a conversation, maybe you'll meet them, but you're not banking on this becoming a new forever relationship, and you're fine with that. You're happy either way. If you meet somebody new, you're going to give them a chance. You're not keeping them at arm's length because you're waiting for your ex to come back. You're thinking, okay, let's give us an opportunity. If your ex reaches out to you, maybe you speak with them a little bit, maybe not. But if things are going well with a new person, you are not going to throw this away. That's the main difference between points number 2 and 3. In point number 3, you are accepting the situation. You are feeling happy with whatever happens. And whether or not you get your ex back, you know you'll be fine. And that is something I always try to tell my audio coaching clients when we are speaking with one another. I try to inform them that whatever your main thought is right now, you will get happiness, okay? Because if you improve every single day, if you live your life to the full, whether or not you want your ex back, whether or not you get your ex back, you will find the happiness you deserve, because living your best life, improving every single day, grows your attraction net. If you don't get your ex back, you can and will find somebody even better if you are a more attractive proposition than when you first met your ex. If you grow your attraction net, this means you can and will attract better quality people than at the time you met your ex, and therefore a new person could be much better than your ex in so many ways. It doesn't mean you can't get your ex back, it just means that you're going to be happy either way. Whether or not you get them back, whether or not you get the opportunity, live your life, improve every day, use the hints, tips and advice that I give in my audio coaching and in my other podcasts, and you can get to that point of acceptance and happiness. And that's all we want and that's all we need. Because if we're happy, if we're fulfilled, it doesn't matter who we're with. If we're feeling good, it doesn't matter if we are with our ex or not. Stay positive and remember that with or without your ex, you will have a positive future. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.